We have finished this level. Okay. Uh, I'll just tell you yesterday what we did. Okay. You can see this, right? So what we did yesterday is we have just understood the uh, first we understood the core distribution and access. You can mute your you are they're calling you in the mobile phone. Okay, you are getting the call, right? Mobile phone.
Okay. Yeah.
So you are connected in the mobile phone. Yeah, Sandeep. So you can mute your speaker and mic, so there will be no echo. Okay. So all are joined, right? Everybody is there. Ashwita, Ranjita, and Sandeep. Right? You're able to hear me? Everyone, can you use chat window and give yes, sir? Everyone give yes one time. Why? Ranjita, yes, yes. Ranjita is there. Yeah, Ashwita and Sandeep. Very good. Everybody is there. Now, I'll just tell like yesterday what we covered. Then we'll revise one time. Then we'll go to the today's topic is security architecture. Okay, security architecture design. So yesterday what we discussed is we discussed about core distribution access, campus design, campus design, right? After that we went to the we understood the data center design. In data center design we use pine leaf model. In campus network we use Cisco three-tier hierarchical model. Okay. Then we understood the WAN design. WAN we understood four routers we put intranet router, PSTN gateway, cloud, internet. Okay, these are the things yesterday we discussed. So, do you want to discuss any doubts? Are there any questions? Are there? You can ask me now. Then, if you are clear on this infrastructure, then I will start adding security in this. Okay, how to make this infrastructure secure? This is the next topic: designing the security architecture in the infrastructure. Okay. You have any questions in there? You want to ask any doubts? Any questions? Can I move forward? Yes, no, something can type in chat window. Can I move forward? Yeah. Okay, okay. Sandeep, yes, yeah, fine. So, uh, next I'm going to talk about, we are going to discuss the, okay, we start now. Now I'm going to teach the security architecture. Let us understand. Now, first, I'm making a small topology. Okay, now, first I'm going to start with the core switch. This is my core switch. Core switch. The campus, the first is the core switch. Then I have distribution switch. Then I have access switch. We have a PC. Then I'm going to put some servers. Distribution data center switch I'm putting here. I'm just putting one switch. I'm not actually making the whole topology here. Just to make you understand, I'm just putting one switch and I'm connecting to one server. That's it. Not multiple servers here. Server one. This is my file server where my data are stored. Then I want to go to internet. Internet. To go to internet, I have a router. Router R1. Data center switch. DC. This is data center switch. Now I'm connecting the cable. Okay. He is called end user. You can call like this as a end user. Now this is the topology I'm going to use to discuss. This is my www public internet. Okay. So I'm going to connect this via one ISP. So this is my ISP. Now in that ISP I have connected ISP, for example, Airtel. Airtel I have connected. Okay. Right. Now there is a hacker who sits outside the internet as a public. He want to hack my network. This is hacker. Okay. This is the hacker. Now, how do I secure my network from this hacker where the data is stored here? Right? How do I secure? The hacker is coming and hacking data from here. So how do I secure the hack? Understand the question? Now, to do secure my infrastructure. This is my infrastructure. Data center is there. One campus design is campus is there. WAN is there. Simple WAN. I've taken one internet. Only one internet. Okay. Now, how I'm going to secure this? So, first, I'm going to teach you 4 principles. Remember this. Okay, you have to note down this. It's very, very important. Security design principles. I want to design security. You have to design security. Security design principles. I'm going to teach you 4 principles. Whenever you are going to do a design, you must remember these principles. Based on these principles only, you have to do a design. 1, 2, 3, 4. First principle is least privilege. Second principle is defense in depth. Third principle is difference in depth and the rotation of roles and the responsibility. Fourth principle is auditing. Now, what is least privilege? Least privilege means by default, by default, deny all, don't allow anybody. If anybody wants to go outside, anybody want to permit anybody, get proper authentication and permit. But by default, deny all. This is a first principle in security. First principle in security is what? Don't allow anybody. If anybody want to go outside, if anybody want to permit, then tell them to get proper authentication and come, then permit them. This is the first principle. Second principle is defense in depth. Defense in depth means multi-layer, multi-layer protection. What is going to be multi-layer protection? Don't don't protect the asset. Don't protect the asset means data. Don't protect the data in only one layer. If somehow one layer is compromised, one layer is broke, they keep another layer. Keep another layer. You've seen some movies now in that war time, no? One outer ring, inner ring like that. So multiple rings will be there. You have to break one by one, one by one. Finally, you will able to hit the king. So we create multiple layers of security. So what are the layers we are going to discuss here? And we will put 4 layers. We can divide into multiple layers. I'm just keeping it 4 layers. The first layer is called the perimeter security. Perimeter. Second is L2 security. Third is content, or we put L7 security. Fourth is endpoint security. So I'm dividing into 4. I'll bring all the security countermeasures, security controls in these 4 layers. But you can divide into how many layers you want according to your requirement. Okay, I'm just keeping into 4 layers. Then rotation of roles and responsibilities. What is rotation of roles and responsibilities? I am going to give the same role to multiple people. I will not depend on one guy. There is no single point of failure. Single point of failure. Meaning what? If one particular person is not available, single point is that person is not available. I don't want the service to fail. So I will always use something called shift basis. If one guy is not available, next shift guy will be able to handle it. So we have the rotation of the role will be shift. We'll do shift basis. Okay, we'll do the work. So the first shift guy is not the second shift guy, we can handle that. So like that. We will always have the backup. This is called rotation of roles and responsibility. So there is no single point of failure. Next, auditing. We'll do 2 types of audit. One is policy compliance audit. Second is VAPT audit. So what is this policy compliance audit? What is VAPT audit? We'll discuss. One by one we'll discuss. Okay. This is you written this 4. Once you written this 4 principles, just make a give D. Put it D. So then I will continue next. I'll move forward. We are going to discuss. So whenever you're putting security in a company, any security design you're going to do, you have to follow this four principles. This one is the internal 6 months. Every 6 months you have to do external certification based on certification, organization certification. Okay. So, uh, one. Okay. So, external is based on the organic system certification. When you take a calculation one, that is certificate. So done. I think Sandeep done, Ashmita done. Sanjit also done. Okay. Let's start. What is perimeter security? Now you understand this. Okay. Before going to this, let me talk about what is router, what is firewall. Just make a note like this: router and firewall. You know what is firewall? Anybody know this? What is firewall? Anybody know what is firewall? What is router? Firewall is a airport device. Okay. Where it specifies ports and protocol. Uh, and, follows the rules to allow and hide the packet. Okay. Firewall is a security device, right? Okay. So, okay. Firewall. Okay. Now, what is router? Everybody know what is router? Router is a network device. Yes. So, the routing happens on the network device where the packets are routed. Okay. What is routing? Router, right? What is routing? Routing means selecting the best route. Okay. So this is the function it does. Router is the selecting the best route it will do. Understand, right? So what is firewall is doing is it is actually dividing trusted. Note down this. Okay, these things I'm what I'm teaching. Note down in your notebook. I'm going to delete that trusted and untrusted zone. Trusted and untrusted zone. Now, firewall will have, for example, two interfaces. Just take these two interfaces, inside, outside. Okay, inside, outside. So outside is what? Inside, outside. So outside is your untrusted zone, generally public. Like for example, internet. Internet is untrusted zone. Okay, for example, public internet. Okay, I can't trust this zone, untrusted zone. Inside is your LAN, it is trusted. Trusted zone. So what is firewall is doing is firewall is dividing your trusted and untrusted zone. Okay. So what is router is doing? Router is actually dividing your LAN and WAN. You want to go to LAN to WAN, you need a router. This is your LAN, this is your WAN. Understood? LAN and WAN. Now, why I am telling these two devices is the perimeter security. In perimeter, these devices will come. Perimeter means the entry point. Like you are entering in the your network, first the entry point is perimeter. So the ISP is coming, right? There we put router and the firewall. So what firewall will do is firewall will allow by default allow all traffic. Okay. To, or you can say allow, instead of allow, I'll use a word called permit. Permit is a technical word, terminology. Allow or permit are same. Okay. Now to deny, to stop, to deny any packet, what you have to do? To deny, we need to configure what? A concept called ACL. ACL means access control list. Access control list. So once you configure this ACL, in that we'll say deny this, permit this, like that we will set. So this is your how the router works. By default, router allow all traffic. Remember, okay, you want to stop any traffic, deny any traffic, then you need to configure ACL. Okay, this is the way router works. Now firewall. Firewall follows least privilege. Remember the first function. I am teaching you the first principle. Firewall follows least privilege. By default, it deny all traffic, not allow anybody. Now you want to permit somebody, you need to configure ACL. Understood this? Just make a note of this and give D. This is your least privilege. Understand the point here? Firewall follows the security principle, saying that by default, I don't allow anybody. You want to permit somebody, you please configure the access control, ACL. So once you configure the access control list, in that you say permit this IP address, then only I'll permit that IP address. Is this clear now, everybody? What is least privilege? Any questions? Can I move forward? Make a note of this and give D. I'll move forward. So by default, router allow all traffic. Deny will use ACL. By default, firewall block all traffic. The permit will configure ACL. That is the nature of the router and firewall. Okay. Everyone done? I will put this in the WhatsApp also. Next. In the perimeter security, the first device is called firewall. I'm going to put firewall now. So what firewall will do? Just now we discussed. Firewall will do divide the. This is a firewall. Okay. Firewall. So this firewall has three interfaces. We already saw two interfaces here. One is inside. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Now, yeah, this is input inside. This is outside. This is dividing my trusted and untrusted zone. This is two interfaces. The third interface I'm going to write down is in firewall is DMZ. You can say in firewall we have three interfaces. They are inside, outside, and DMZ. DMZ. What is DMZ? Yeah, demilitarized zone. So what we store in demilitarized zone is, for example, I want to store, I want to publish some, website, my company website to the public, right? There are public is there, right? Like public users are there in internet. They want to access my company website. So where I'll keep my company website? I'll keep my company website in the demilitarized zone. This is the company website. Okay, I'll put like this. This is your what do you call it? Web server. Web server. Your website is there, na? Generally, you keep the website here. Then you can keep some other servers also here. Like for example, you want to download, you want to give some documents to the, public user, no? Like they can use file server here. Use some file server for public. And you can share some documents about your company, the videos, books, like some guides, and share with them. This is your DMZ zone. What is DMZ? This is a demilitarized zone where we will create some, we'll put some resources which can be accessed by public. Some server, service or server, and some files you can download. This can be accessed by public. So this is your website, company website. The public can come, they'll come through firewall, they come like this, they will access this, they can go back. But they cannot come to inside. Inside is your router is there. No? Cannot come inside your network. Firewall is clear. Ranjita and Ashita, firewall is clear. Any questions? You want to ask any doubts? Can I move forward? Okay. The next device I'm going to discuss in perimeter security is IPS IDS. What is IPS IDS? Let's write down here. First I wrote down in the perimeter security. First device I discussed is firewall. Okay. Second I'm going to discuss is IDS, IPS. What is IDS, IPS? IDS means intrusion detection system. IPS means intrusion prevention system. Intrusion prevention system. Okay, we're going to understand this. So in IDS and IPS, we use a device called the sensor. Okay, try to understand this. There is a device called the sensor. Okay, what is this sensor? I'll tell you. Now I'm going to place the sensor. We call these are two modes are there in sensor. Of the placement of sensor, there are two ways you can place the sensor. One is this mode. We call inline mode. Okay, inline mode. Then we'll keep one more location. You can keep the sensor. That is called out of band mode. So the placement of sensor device is same, but how I'm going to place the sensor, right? The placement of sensor decides it is IPS or IDS. So how do I differentiate IDS, IPS? Not by device. How you where you place the device. The placement of sensor decides it is IDS or IPS. For example, this is IPS, this is IDS. Now let's understand how this IPS is. What IDS will do is first it will scan all traffic. One, scan all traffic. Then it has something called attack signatures. Using the attack signature, it will detect attacks. Any DOS attack, any attack is happening, it will detect. Detect the hacker is attacking, no? That attack will be using what? Using something called attack signature. Okay, signature. It has a signature, so it will detect. Third is it will send alerts. Alerts may be like your SMS or email, like that. It will send alerts. This is called IDS. Now, how this IDS will get the sensor will get the traffic in the switch. We have to go inside the switch and we have to configure something called span. Okay, we'll take this. This is called mirrored port, mirroring. We'll connect like this. We'll take something called this cross. This concept is called spanning. We configure something called span. So what is span means? Whatever traffic comes in this interface. For example, this interface gig 0/24. Okay, whatever traffic comes in gigabit 0/24, it will take a copy and send it to port number what? Whatever port you are connected here. Which port? Port number gig 0/24. Something like that. So we'll take a copy and put it here. This is called mirrored ports. Okay. Then that one copy, whatever traffic coming and going here in this interface, that one copy will go here. Understand? So that copy it will scan. To get the one copy of that interface, you have to go to the switch and you have to configure something called spanning port. Once you configure, give the spanning command, what will happen? Whatever traffic comes in this 0/24 interface, it will be sent to one copy will be sent. You have both incoming outgoing traffic. Both traffic will be sent to 0/23. Okay. This is called what? IDS. IPS means what? IPS means same thing only. 1, 2, 3 is same. Plus extra one thing will happen. That is called the fourth step. Don't say like that. Fourth is block. It can block the traffic also. So it will scan the traffic, detect the attacks using signatures, then send alerts also. Plus it will block also. So to block the traffic, you must put put the sensor in the inline mode. Inline mode means what? All traffic has to go through the device. This is called the IPS. Understand what is the difference between IDS and IPS? Any questions? What about IDS, IPS, firewall? Right? Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, you can say like this. You can say passive if you want to use that terminology. Okay. This is passive. This is active. You want to use this that passive active terminology. Okay. Clear? Okay. Next, I'll go next device. I'm going to talk about the third device is VPN. So, what is VPN? Virtual Private Network. Right? Now, see, VPN means Virtual Private Network. So, why we need VPN? First of all, understand here. Now I'm going to add, this is what I call this. This guy is my end user. I said, no, this is we call him as local user. Local user. Okay. Now I'm going to put a same type of user in my house who's working from home. Now everybody is working from home, right? So working from home user. We call him as teleworker. Teleworker is working from home there. Remote user you can say. Now this teleworker working from home, he wants to access my file server, S1. Okay. You want to access my file server. Now, what I want is I want to connect to the file server. How do I connect to the file server? I can go with intranet. Intranet means what? Private, but it will be very costly. I cannot go with intranet private connection from how my employee to the server, company server. So what he said is, company said is you come through internet. So for the internet, he went to ISP, he went to ACNet, he got one fiber connection. He gave ACNet gave one router. He put the router here. From the router, he has connected his laptop. Okay. Now he's coming to this router. Okay. This. Now this is this. I take R1. I put R2 there. This is R2, which is my internet router, which is given by my ACNet internet router. Okay. Now this teleworker, which is PC2, for example, PC2 want to access my server. So he is coming from R2, ISP, ACNet, in www internet, and ISP Airtel, firewall, router, sensor. Okay. Now it's all okay if you enter inside the WAN, it's okay. But what is where my problem is when the traffic is moving, from my this PC, it is coming this way, right? So I need to make sure that in the public, right? How do I secure that? Because there are hackers are there, they want to hack this traffic. How do I secure the traffic in the public? Understand the question? How do I secure my traffic in the internet? Internet is public, correct? So, what is the solution? What is the security countermeasure for that? To secure the traffic in the public? How do you secure this? So, what you are doing when you are doing working from home? First, what you do? Yes, so you are going to connect the VPN from your home. There will be a VPN client software in your laptop. They will install and give you. For example, Cisco VPN AnyConnect, VPN client software will be there. So you have to just start the VPN. There is an IP address. Just you have to click the VPN. Then AnyConnect. Okay. So once your VPN is established, then started working. Actually, what is happening? I'll tell you. Now you are sending in the public. I want to protect my data in the public network. So for that, I am connecting VPN. What is VPN is doing is VPN is taking the data, which is my data. Okay. Now this data I want to protect. What VPN will do is first it will do encapsulation. You know what is encapsulation? Adding information to data. So it is going to add information, big and huge encapsulation going to be. This encapsulation is called a protocol which is VPN is going to use is called GRE. Okay, GRE means generic routing encapsulation. Okay, what is doing? It is doing a huge encapsulation. Now the hacker wants to see the data. He has to break this encapsulation first. It's like a cover. He has to break this cover. He's covered it. So hacker cannot see this data now. He has to break the hacker. So now somehow hacker break this encapsulation. He is seeing inside the data. Even this data is what I am doing. This data I am going to do encryption. So I will make this data as a ciphertext. I'm not going to keep this as a plain text. I'm going to do ciphertext. Now, even if he breaks and see the data, the encapsulation is broken and see the data is not plain text, it is ciphertext. So by doing these two functions in the plain text, what will happen? Though I am sending in the public network, I will consider this as a virtually private network. So what is VPN? I'll write down again. VPN means I am sending physically I am sending in public network. Physically it is using public network, which is nothing but internet. Okay. Now I am going to add. What I'm going to do? I'm going to take the data. I'm going to add two things here. Add data plus. First is called tunneling. What is tunneling? Tunneling is nothing but your encapsulation. GRE. GRE means your generic routing encapsulation. I'm going to do tunneling. Tunneling is nothing but adding a huge data. So it is tunneled now. Inside the tunnel, it is there going on. So tunneling plus encryption. Encryption is changing private text to ciphertext. Okay. Now once I do this two, though I'm sending in the private physically public network, I will myself consider this as a okay. Now it become virtually private network. It's called VPN. Okay. So this is called VPN. Understand? So this process is called tunneling. Tunneling is adding encapsulation, adding huge information with the data. Converting plain text to ciphertext, we call it as encryption. Understood? This is called your VPN. Next is VPN. If you take, there are two types of VPN. They are majorly divided into two types. That is, one is remote access VPN. We call this as RA VPN. RA VPN is remote access VPN. Second one is site-to-site VPN. Site-to-site VPN. Now, generally, for remote access VPN, we use a protocol called SSL/TLS. Okay, this is the protocol. It's a suite. Again, suite means what? It's a not one protocol. It's a family of protocols. We use this SSL or TLS protocol. See, SSL is upgradation is TLS. So don't get confused. Both are same. SSL TLS is both are same. SSL's upgradation is TLS. Okay. So nowadays we are using TLS version, you can say like 1.3 like that we are using. Okay. The older version of TLS is SSL. Okay, like that you can understand. Now, what is the protocol we're using for SecSec VPN is IPsec. Again, as I told you, IPsec is not one protocol. It's a family, it's a framework, family of protocols. These are the protocols we use. Now, what is remote access VPN? Remote access VPN is nothing but your client server architecture. You have a client and a server. Client server. IPsec VPN means what? IPsec VPN means it is a device to device. For example, router to router or firewall to firewall. The VPN will, the tunnel will be, the VPN will be established between firewall to firewall or router to router is called the site to site VPN. So I'll explain you one by one. Now remote access VPN will take first. Remote access VPN between client and server. This your laptop is client, then we need to put a server. So there is a server I need to put here in my enterprise network. So I'm going to put a server here. This is my VPN server. VPN server, or the another name for this VPN server is called, other name is called VPN concentrator. Concentrator.
Nowadays, firewall only will act as a VPN concentrator, right?
You can make everything as a single device, like whatever I mentioned here, right? Firewall, router, sensor, IPS, VPN, all will become single device. We call this as next generation firewall. See, there is a concept called next generation firewall.
Yeah.
Okay, so for example, that is Palo Alto, or Cisco means FTD, Fortinet. These all are the new product. I'm talking about the product now. Okay, Fortinet. So these devices, if you take these firewalls are latest generation firewall. They can do what? They can do one box. Okay, they will do L3, L4. That is for general firewall function. L3, L4. Okay, L3, L3 inspection. Then it can do the routing. It can do the NAT. It can do the what you can say. It can do IPS. It will do VPN, and it can be a CA, certificate authority. It can be like, I can keep on writing. Okay.
Yeah.
It will do URL filtering. URL means you can say Facebook is not allowed. They can build filter like this. Then you can do advanced malware protection. You can do AVC like this. I can keep on writing. Okay. So this is what you are talking about, the product. Okay. I am teaching you one by one now here. You got the difference, right? I am one by one. I'm going to teach you what is CA, what is AMP. That is my intention of separate boxes, function and teaching. Device, if you go right, one device can do everything. Okay, that is important. So now we are studying the function level. So you need to separately explain, because I have to explain separate only. So now I'll just put this in the WhatsApp. Right. Now, what I was telling is VPN. So VPN means there is a server, there is a client. So this is called server client architecture. Now, understand here, remote access VPN is basically server client. So who is the server here? VPN server or VPN concentrator. Then there is a client. So tunnel will be established. The VPN tunnel, right? We discussed. Tunnel will be established between your, let me put like this. Tunnel will be established between your client and the okay. This is a tunnel. VPN tunnel. VPN tunnel. The protocol may be GRE or IPsec. Show you one. Okay. GRE or IPsec. So tunnel will be established between your VPN server and concentrator. VPN server and VPN client. This is called a remote access VPN. Understand this? Is this clear? Everyone, what is remote access VPN? Any questions? Can I move forward? Ranjita, Ashwita, everyone is clear? Yeah,
we have complete VPN concept, like
you see, if it's there in the syllabus, I'll cover. Okay.
Okay.
So you want to study VPN, you have to study CCIE. Okay. Full detail one. I'm doing CCIE security, right? We have a separate topic called VPN concept. All VPN, Get VPN, Flex VPN, all VPNs we study.
Yeah.
But here in Security Plus is a fundamental course. Understand, no?
Okay.
There we have to cover all the topics, but very limited level. You cannot go deeper. See, only VPN I can teach you 80 hours. Understand that? The topic is so huge. Only VPN only I can teach you 80 hours. But this whole course is 40 hours for so many topics. Understand the difference, no?
Okay.
We cannot go. If you have any questions, you ask me, I'll answer that. Then there is a little bit out. Okay. So Security Plus is basically a fundamental course where we will understand all the technologies, not only VPN. VPN is one of the technologies. If you want to study completely only VPN, there are higher end courses like 80 hours courses are there. So CCIE service provider, CCIE security, you can study in there. Okay, I was asking you a question about, are you clear? Can you move forward, Sanjita and Ashwita? Okay. Next I'm going to talk about is, I told about remote access VPN. Next I'm going to talk about site-to-site VPN. What is site-to-site VPN? Site-to-site VPN is between two sites, head office site and branch office site. So I'm going to put a router here now to explain this. I'll take one router. R2, R3 I put. This is my intranet. If you put like, yeah, let me give like this intranet router. Or I can say like your head office router, HO, head office router. Now you are connecting your branch office. The branch office is Mysore, for example. This is Bangalore, this is Mysore. Now you want to connect these two offices, but there is no much traffic. The scenario is like this. This is branch office router, but there is no much traffic, right? There is no much traffic in this. So what we will do is we will have very high level, very less traffic is there. So we are saying we'll go via internet, but the problem is again, if you are going via internet, what is the problem? The problem is there is no security. It's a public. So what I did is I just told this. I just configured this router. Between two routers, I created one tunnel, VPN tunnel. Okay. See. I put this. Let me put this. Okay. Now I'm going to create a tunnel between these two. So this is the tunnel I'm creating. Router to router. This is my VPN tunnel. So this is called a site-to-site VPN. Site-to-site VPN. Understood this? So this is a remote access VPN, RA VPN I'll put. Then this site-to-site VPN. This is clear now? Everyone is clear about the perimeter. I talk about perimeter security. In perimeter security, we discussed about firewall, IPS, IDS, and the VPN. Any questions you can ask me. Then I'll go to next layer, L2 security. L2 security. Okay. Use the chat window. Yeah. Sanjita, everyone is clear. Can I go to L2 security now? All good? Yeah. Any questions? Yeah.
So site-to-site VPN, should it have a dedicated router for that, or we can terminate that traffic on the perimeter firewall?
That's I told, no? Firewall. Yeah. I have mentioned here. If you see here,
okay.
I written here router to router, firewall to firewall.
No. Yeah. General, I'm asking like how best practice enterprises follow?
Design you are talking, right?
Mhm.
See, there are three types of network is there. What are the three types of network? Tell me. Class of network. Class of networks. Three class of network.
Like campus area network or
No. Class. Three class. How do you classify the network? There are types. There are different types is there. No. They classify into three classes. What are they?
WAN.
Wrong answer. Anybody else? Can you try? Ranjita, Rashida. Three class. How do you? Pardon me? Enterprise. Okay. Another one. Soho. Correct. Okay. Now the question is what you are asking, right? It depends on what type of network. Small network, medium network, big network. Right? Small network is called Soho network. Medium network is called enterprise network, which MNC companies. So depends on the requirement. We will decide you want to go for all-in-one device or you want to use an individual device. You understand this? The number of users decides that. Now, if you are using, when we go for a dedicated device, when we go for an all-in-one devices, depends on the size of the network. Soho network means only 10 users are there. There is a branch, okay. There is a branch here. For example, you take like this. There is a bank is there. Only 10 people are working in the bank. It is somewhere in the remote village, a small bank. So for that bank, no, we can buy one Cisco box. In that box, firewall will be there, VPN will be there, okay, wireless will be there, switch will be there. One box, single box with 12 port switch. Okay, so 12 port switch, that one single box, switch, router, firewall, VPN, all will be there. Understand? Single box. That is okay for Soho level. But if I go for a campus network, campus means there are 500 users are there, 1000 users are there. Then you need to have a dedicated box for VPN. Because this VPN separate box you have to purchase because thousands of people are going to log in and log out at a time. So that time that CPU processing power has to be more. Then we go for a dedicated boxes. We cannot put in the router or switch or firewall, router or firewall. Understand? So we can put that inside. See, we can make a single box, but the problem is number of users. When we need to go for dedicated boxes. You understand the difference, right? So that's it. That is the basic. Understand this. This is the basic design criteria. When I go for a dedicated box, when I'll put in a single box, say all the services. It depends on number of users. Soho, enterprise or service provider. Clear, no? Did I answer your question, Sandeep?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Next question I'm going to talk about is L2 security. In the L2 security, we are going to discuss about what is L2 security. Can anybody tell me L2 security means what? What is L2? Layer 2. At least tell me that. Layer 2.
Security on LAN.
Done.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what happens here? There is a hacker coming from inside, like this, local user. The local user is compromised or he is disgruntled employee. Disgruntled employee means what? He is not happy. He is angry with the organization. Or he is compromised. His compromise, he opened some website, some malware came inside his PC. Okay. His compromised PC. Now there are reasons are there. So somehow from inside, no, not from the untrusted zone. From the trusted zone, there is attack is happening. Understand? From the LAN attack is happening. So how do you protect from that? So for that, there are some countermeasures in the switch. Okay. So these switches are there, no core switch, access switch. We can put lot of security features. These features are called the L2 security. L2 means generally switch. Understand, right? So what is L2 security? Basically, in switch, what are the security features we can enable? For example, I'll write down some features. I'm talking about switch, okay? I can take a switch, I can configure something called IOS firewall. I can make switch as a firewall. I can make switch as a IPS. I can make switch as a Understand that? I can even make switch. I can enable switch. In switch, I can enable the firewall feature. I can enable the IPS feature if I want. Okay. I want to protect my from my attack from the LAN. Okay. Attack from LAN, you have to protect. I can do this. Then I can configure something called STP guards. Okay. What is STP guards? Anybody knows what is STP?
Protocol.
Yeah, spanning tree protocol. So the spanning tree protocol is a protocol which is used to protect from the loops. It will protect from the loops. Loop means the packet is not reaching destination because this is the roaming like that. That is loop. To prevent from the loop, we use this protocol. But what hacker will do is hacker knows there is a vulnerability in the STP. They will use that vulnerability and attack. Okay. So to protect from that, we use some commands. STP protocol. That is STP guard commands are there. Then we have DHCP. DHCP, you know it, dynamic host automatic configure IP address. There are some attacks are there. DHCP snooping attack. So DHCP snooping protection is you have to do. Then we have switch port security. This is very important. Switch port security. So this all security is coming in the switch level. Okay. For switch port security, I can say number of MAC address allowed. I can go to one switch port. I can say I will allow only one MAC address in the this switch port. Then and I can say what MAC address also allowed. I can just write down the MAC. It's called MAC security. I can say that what MAC address is allowed in this port. Only that MAC PC will work. Only that address PC will work. What MAC address is allowed. Understand? Understood this? L2 security. So what is L2 security? There are so many security features are there in the switch. We will configure in this. So this is the second layer. The first layer is what? I am preventing the perimeter. So once the perimeter is secure, somehow the hacker is compromise the perimeter. Now next again I am protecting from my L2 security. Is this clear?
Port setting is one of the security, right?
Port?
Setting the port, unused port.
That is best practice. You can do best practice, like you can create a VLAN. You create isolated VLAN. In the isolated VLAN, you put all the unused ports and shut down all the interfaces, all the ports. That is a best practice you are telling, right? So how you do, like you unnecessary, see, generally don't leave anything open. Don't, see, simple logic. Don't keep anything automatic. Okay, make everything static. This is a principle you can follow. Don't leave anything automatic. So automatically dynamic. Don't keep anything dynamic mode. Make everything static mode and fix the behavior. Understand? No? Then you know that what it will do. This is security. Generally security will do that. We don't leave anything, like there are DTP. There are so many protocols are there. Dynamic trunking protocol. All these dynamic protocols will not allow. We'll make it static. Maximum so we know the behavior, what happens. So that is the principle you are talking. Okay. This is L2 security. Now next security is called content security. So what is L7 content security? Now firewall will take care of L2 and the L3. Understand this. What firewall will do? Will take care of L2 and L3 and the L4. L4. Okay. Switch is generally L2, layer 2. Now I want to understand L7. Yes, my IPS will take care. L7, little bit L7 IPS can understand. IDS IPS can understand L7. But apart from this, there are so many things I want to monitor. I want to make secure it is safe. That all comes in content. So what content I'm sending, application level, what content I'm sending and receiving, right? That security is called content security. So I'm going to write down some important security devices which is important in the use in day-to-day life. One is, first I'm writing is, here I'll write down one by one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. I'll keep 4 only. Don't want to write too much. So whenever we're studying, we'll keep on adding this. But just understand this. Only 4 I'm going to write down. 1. Okay. First, I'm going to put a device called the AAA. What is AAA? Anybody knows what is AAA?
Authentication, authorization, accounting.
Authentication, authorization, accounting. Okay, this is a server, AAA server. So what is authentication? Now anybody is logging to your company. You want to see that who can access. Everybody cannot access everything, right? You will this guy will say yes, you can access. No, you cannot access. That is called authentication. Next is authorization. Now you are able to, yeah, you can come inside, but you are inside your network. But what you can access, you cannot access everything. You can access only one server. If you want to go to other server, you don't have access. So that is called what can be accessed. What can be accessed. Okay. Next, accounting. What is accounting? Accounting means what? What you did.
Recording all that.
Yeah. Yes. What you did. Recording everything. So what we call this recordings, we call logs. Okay. In our computer terminology, we say log. Log is nothing but what you did. Recording of what are the actions you did. These three functions one device will do. This is called a AAA server. So what is the AAA server we are using nowadays? You know any product? Huh?
Radius server, TechX server.
That is protocol, no?
Okay.
Protocol is Radius and the TechX. Radius, TechX, the protocols. What is the server product we are using? Protocol is Radius and the TechX. Do you know any product here? The product is called ICE, Identity Service Engine. Okay, Cisco is ICE. Then you know HP is having ClearPass. Okay, these all are the products we use to AAA server. Understand? Next product is, I want to make sure that my company, whenever anybody is logging to the website, from the website, I don't want to get any malicious software. Then I use what? Web security appliance, WSA. WSA means nothing but website, web attacks, to prevent from web attacks. Now you are sending any email. From email, I don't want to get any malware. Then I'll use email security appliance. That is, understand, right? ESA. Next, third one is, now I want to protect my mobile phones. Through mobile also nowadays lot of attacks are coming, right? So how do I protect from that? There is a solution for that. That is called MDM. Okay, MDM is called mobile phone. Mobile device management. MDM full form is mobile device management. This is for the mobiles. Mobile means not only mobile phone, your tablet, whichever is you're using, smartphone, tablet, whichever is movable. Okay, laptop, everything comes under mobile. Okay, so you protect that mobile. How do you protect the mobile OS? Through mobile, we don't want to get any attack. Okay, so these all are called content security. Everyone is clear now? What is content security? Any questions? Can you give? Yes. Can I move forward? So we discussed about perimeter security. Then we discussed about L2 security. Now I'm talking about content security. Now I'm going to the last layer is the last layer. The last layer is endpoint security. Okay. Ranjita is clear?
Okay. So I think the NAC solution, right?
What solution? Yes, sir. What solution?
It's a NAC solution.
What is NAC full form?
Network access control.
Yeah. So what it is doing when you what is network access control?
Sorry.
What it is doing, network access control?
Yeah, it will prevent the unauthorized
authorization, right?
Yeah.
That only I told, no?
Okay.
Network authorization, right? First, AAA, first year. Authentication authorization, right? See, whenever anybody is logging, see, NAC means understand. Anybody is logging to this machine. For example, there is a wireless, for example, there is a WAP. Okay, understand this. There is a WAP. One user is logging through the WAP. Now, this WAP, right, he will send a request to the AAA, wireless access point. Okay, he want to enter in my network. Shall I allow him or not? Network access. Understand? Not server access. What is NAC? Network access. I'm not talking about can I go inside the server. When I log into the server, right? Server is asking is server access. Now here what I'm talking is network access control. NAC solution. NAC solution means what? When a PC want to enter in your network, the network device will request to the AAA server, right? Shall I allow him or not? That is called network access control. Understand the difference? That there also what we are doing. We are doing authentication authorization only and accounting only. You got that is what NAC is nothing but when you are logging through network. Network authentication, you can say. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Ranjita is clear. What about Ashwita? You have any questions, Ashwita? Any questions you want to ask? Okay, very good. I think Sandeep also clear, right? Can I go to next topic?
Yes.
Yep. Now we are going to discuss about the last layer. Now see, the hacker is somehow compromised the perimeter security. He compromised my content security, L2 security, then content security. The last layer is endpoint security. Now in the endpoint also, I'm not going to leave as it is. I'm going to try to protect my endpoint. This is my PC. So here I will put what? I will put host-based firewall. Okay, Windows firewall, Windows Defender is there. No, that is also firewall. I can put host-based IPS. Right. Then I can put data leak prevention. DLP means what? DLP mechanism. You can select data leak prevention. So from your laptop, you may without unintentionally also you may leak the data. So how do I protect the data without leaking the data? So I will have some mechanisms for that. That is called, for example, what all we can do in DLP. In DLP, we can do this. Like for example, I can block the USB drive. I can block the CD drive. I can encrypt the hard disk data. These are the three things I'm writing here. Okay. And multiple prevention mechanisms, DLP techniques are there. The DLP techniques, first one is block USB. So from USB, you cannot share any data from your laptop. So the company laptop, you cannot share anything through USB drive. Okay. Then you will block the CD drive. Same way, nowadays CD drive is not there. If CD drive is there, they'll block the CD drive. Then now, even though somehow somebody took your data from your laptop, somehow they took, but the data will not, they are not able to open the data because the data will be encrypted. So encrypt data. So this is in Microsoft we have something called BitLocker. In BitLocker, if you enable, right, it will encrypt your data. If you give a password, only decrypt will happen. Even a hacker hacks your data from your laptop also, the data he cannot be able to see because it will be encrypted. These all are called endpoint security I'm talking. So then one more is there. What is one more one? Anti-malware. You can install here. Anti-malware, antivirus. Antivirus, you know, right? Anti-malware. So all these things we can install and we can secure here also. So see, understand here, I want to protect the data. So I will protect from where? From perimeter to endpoint. This is called defense in depth. Understand this? What is defense in depth principle? Defense in depth is clear? So tomorrow when I ask you how to answer this is a very, very important concept. Defense in depth. Everyone is clear, right? Can I move forward? Defense in depth is clear? perimeter security, L2 security, content security, endpoint security. Okay, next. I told you rotation of roles and responsibilities. I told you, meaning we'll keep on rotating the roles and responsibilities. So there is no single point of failure. If one guy is not coming, we're not able to access. Will not have the service will not stop. Next one is okay. I will add one more point, one more thing. Let me finish this. Next one is auditing. The fourth principle is auditing. Okay. Now what is this auditing? Auditing means we'll have a whatever we design, right? We decide, right? Whatever we do, we create a policy. In a company, right? How it works is I'll show you one diagram. Give me a second. Okay. Now see this. Now in the company, right? There will be a customer will be there. Customer will be asking lot of global customers will be there, MNC customers. They will be saying that your company must be ISO certified, HIPAA certified, SOC certified. Like that, they will keep on telling this. If you are not certified company, I will not give the project. Who will tell this? Your global service provider will tell. Means global customers will tell. Okay, now the company must be certified. Okay, they cannot say, no, I will not certify. I don't worry about this. Because if you don't have certified, no, you will not get the projects from the global customers. Okay, the standard has to be maintained. So, to do certifications, right, there are so many guidelines are there. So they will collect all the guidelines, ISO guidelines, HIPAA guidelines, SOX guidelines, BS-119 guidelines. Like that, they'll collect all the guidelines. Then they'll create one company policy, company security policy. This security policy, based on this security policy, for end user, we will use step-by-step procedure, what to do. Okay, now your manager is telling do like this means he is not just saying like whatever he wants. He is understanding there is a company policy. Based on the policy, he is telling you to do these steps. So if you don't follow the policy, what will happen is you will not meet the standard guidelines. Then your certification will fail. You lose the customer. Understand? So there is a pipeline is there. There is a chain of authentication is there, or chain of communication is here. So customer wants certification. For certification, there are some guidelines. Based on the customer standards, no guidelines, the company will create a security policy. This security, based on the security policy, end user will get the step-by-step procedure. We call it as SOP. You know what is SOP? Standard operating procedure. There is a concept called SOP. Standard operating procedure. They will say you have to operate like this only. This procedure is coming from where? It's coming. This is the coming like this. Then one more thing is whatever you do, whichever organization, whichever department you're working in the, whichever organization you're working in, the department you're working, right? You will have a all comes under one framework. This framework is called ITIL framework or any framework. What is the meaning of framework? You cannot say that I no sir, our department is different. We don't work like you. You cannot say that. All department has to follow a same way of working. That is called a framework. So the communication has to be, you cannot say no. For example, in some company, if I go and ask, right, can you have done this means, they will say, oh, no sir, we don't follow that process. We follow different process. You cannot say that. Everybody in the organization, every department has to follow a same process. That is called framework. Okay. So that framework they will bring inside. This is framework, standards, guidelines, policy, step-by-step procedure is SOP, standard operating procedure. Is this clear now? What is security policy? Now, this security policy, auditor will come and check. What he will check is, he will see that these users are able to accepting it. Accepting is they are following it or not. Acceptable user policy. Meaning what? AUP, we say AUP. AUP means he will see that he is able to, right? The users are able to follow the policy, or some issues are there. User will say, sir, they are telling sir, but we can't follow sir. There is no way we can follow that. But then this is a vulnerability. Now company has given some policy based on their guidelines. Now standard guidelines. If your users are not following, that has to be highlighted to the management. The management has to find out why they are not able to follow. Is the policy is weak or end user has to be trained? So that based on that, the management has to do the countermeasures. Understand? This is first audit. The audit is called what? Policy. We'll copy this. Policy compliance audit. So this is every 6 months internally we have to do policy compliance audit. Then next one is VAPT. So what is VAPT? Anybody knows? VAPT. In the demo class also I told you, if you remember, Ranjita. In our demo classes I told you what is VAPT.
Vulnerability assessment and penetration testing.
Yes. So we will check. This is basically we are studying CEH. You know what we are going to study. If you join CEH course, right? In CEH, we will teach you how to do, find out the weaknesses of the company and how to, and make sure that through which weakness we can attack the company. Okay, that is finding the weakness is vulnerability assessment, and testing that weakness is possible to attack or not is penetration testing. Okay, can be penetrate or not using that vulnerability, yes or no. So that is, once you know that this is able to penetrate, then you have to document that and give it. Okay. Now, these two things we do, two audits is called auditing. If you follow this audit every 6 months, because security is not a fixed one, security will be keep on changing. So every 6 months you need to keep on doing the audit. So you have to make sure that there is new security, new vulnerabilities has come, how to upgrade that, you keep on doing. It's an ongoing activity. Okay. The last one I want to talk about is SIEM. SIEM. Okay, what is SIEM? I tell you. SIEM, when you work in a company, when you join any company as a SOC engineer, you are going to work in this tool only. Okay. When you start working in the company, you will start working, you will just work in this tool. The tool name is SIEM tool. What about this tool?
Security incident and event management.
Yes. Security information event management. Okay. This is a full form. So what is this tool? This tool is, see, understand, I told you so many devices now, right? We started with firewall, IPS, IDS, VPN, WSA, ESA, AAA. I just left so many devices. I just gave you very high level devices, and so many devices will be discussed. And in company we'll have a number of devices. Okay. Now what we will do? We cannot go each and every device and check the logs. Okay. We cannot go with 50 devices. Maybe 50 devices we cannot keep on checking the logs. It's very difficult to do as an engineer. So what we will do? We will collect. This is the first collection point. We will collect all security devices logs in a single location. This device, okay, in SIEM, right? We'll collect all the logs in a single location. Then it will normalize it. Normalization. What is normalization? Normalization means bringing in a standard format. Okay. Now next step is, once you bring in a standard format, like for example, one device will tell first time, then the message. One device will tell first message, then time. So you make sure that all first time comes in everywhere, then message will come. Then you will collaborate or correlate. Let me put correlate. It will compare now the IDS log and the firewall log. Correlate. Okay. It will compare. Okay. After we compare the logs, what it does? It will give a report saying that there is an attack. It will give a report saying that there is an attack happened. Okay. Now you got a message saying that there is an attack happened from SIEM. Okay, SIEM giving a big message that there is an attack. There is an attack. Like that message is coming. WhatsApp is email is coming. Okay. The moment you get the message, now as a security engineer, security analyst, right? I will not directly accept that. So I need to go and see that really from how he is got that, on what basis he is telling the report. So further I'll keep something called search. The search is, we will as an engineer, we will as an analyst, security analyst, we will go and search and find out from what devices it correlated and how it got what, on what basis, on what logs he is telling this there is attack, the report is generated, that you can search and analyze. This is called security analysis. So you can do analysis for security analysis, right? We use this search for analysis. So this analysis, no, for the security analysis, we use this search option. So these all are the functions of SIEM tool. The SIEM, for example, the famous SIEM, what the product is QRadar. Okay, QRadar. Which one you are using, Sandeep?
McAfee has
McAfee, yeah.
has
So McAfee is there, something like that. So many people are nowadays. Everybody is giving it. Basically, what they're doing is they're collecting all the device logs and correlate, normalize and correlate, and give a single report. So you don't need to go on each and every day to find out. This is called SIEM. So you'll be working on this type of tools when you join in the company. This is your day-to-day operations will be there. So this is your security architecture. So we have completed security architecture. So any questions in this? You want to discuss anything on this? Can we wind up for the day? All good? I recorded the session also. So I'll share you this recorded session so you can keep it with you. So this is very, as I told you, I didn't cover all the security components. I have taken some high level security components, and there are so many things. Like for example, there are like advanced malware protection, what is that? URL filtering, application visibility control. But you can easily divide into this four. I gave you those four layers. No, whatever I told you, it all comes under L7 security. Easily we can classify it. We keep on adding new things because new attacks are newly coming, right? You have to keep on adding. But you can understand that it comes in which layer. Okay. Sanjita, is it clear now? Can we end up for the day? Okay. Ashwita, what about you? Any questions? Okay. Clear, right? Very good. What about Sandeep? Sandeep is clear. Can we end up for the day, Sandeep?
yeah.
Okay. So next class will be on Friday. So Friday we will be discussing. The topic will be. Open this. Okay. So I'll be starting Friday will be subnetting. So how good you are in subnetting, everyone? Subnetting, you know? Subnetting VLSM?
Yeah, I have done it.
You are done. What about Ranjita and Ashwita? No, you can you if I give you an exercise, can you do it yourself? Subnetting? Okay. Okay. Fine. Anyhow, and I'm just asking you want me to skip or not? That's why I'm asking you. Can I skip or I'll continue? Subnetting. You want me to take some 2-3 exercises? Yeah, okay. Then I'll cover. No problem. Because I don't want to again come back to the basics. When I'm telling something high level, you said I didn't understand, it's a problem for me. So that's why I'm clearing all the basics first. Okay? Fine. So we will be covering next Friday, we'll be finishing the subnetting part. Then we'll be discussing next devices. Okay? Okay. Thank you very much. So I will share the video also with you. Okay? Yeah. Thank you. See you. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, have a nice day.
Munnu, Munnu.